So normally I like to show everybody the animations of me building wonders, but in this case, between episodes, I accidentally was chopping a forest and it finished. So you'll just have to imagine you're looking at the biosphere and Sean Bean is like, this is a giant glass of bubble and things are living in it and it's dark and it's very cool, just something like that, and you'll get the hang of it. But I'm on 319 tourism. I haven't recalculated things just yet, but hopefully that will recalculate really quickly because the electricity generated by all of my renewables, of which I now have quite a few popping up, do you see? This should start giving me a huge tourism boost. But yeah, literally every turn of mine at the moment is just like move, unimprove, build renewables. I mean, I think I mentioned this before. I'm not entirely sure of the environmentalism of building renewables by sort of strip removing everything from a continent. Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Like, you know, we've got solar panels everywhere. Hooray! But there's also no rainforest. Boo. Oh, and ski resorts, because nothing says, come to America, like just plain upon plain of ski resorts. There you go, 329 to 645. I've doubled my tourism in one turn. And we haven't even begun yet, because now that I've got nanotechnology, you can see I do not have, no offshore stuff at all. So I think we're going to probably have to get robotics. That unlocks 2 compared to 1, so there we go. We're going to go that down now. Have 3 armies or armadas. Build an oil power plant. These are things I feel like I should have. Privateers? I should have it. Why have I not got privateers? Come on. Why have I also not got armies? Again, this is another question. There we go. That's a bit better. That... Oh no, I haven't unlocked submarines yet, have I? Okay, that's good. So I can still build privateers. That's fine. My turns are very boring at the moment. I mean, it's just like, repeat. Everything is being replaced one by one. Yes, it's just as all we get to do. I think it's a classic case of this is a tactic in Civ 6, which is so powerful. Like, it is crazy how powerful it is, but you kind of forget that in order to pull it off, you need to play possibly one of the most boring games ever, and that's just sort of replace every single tile with solar farms and wind farms, and that's all you get to do. You don't get to do anything else. Like, literally just build builders, put these things down, and just wait for all of that sweet tourism to come in. Look at all this, look at all these improvements. That's a tank being shot, ignore that. Look at all these tiles. Oh, you just wait, I'm going to convert everything I can. There are some tiles I can't convert, actually. Like floodplains are a problem. Anything with strategics or luxuries, they're also problems. But like anything else, you betcha. One of my favourite things is that you can build solar farms in the tundra. Now, I get the fact that if something's by the poles, that, you know, 6 months of the year you're going to get nothing but sun, and I get that. But even at the angles of the sun hitting like the north or south pole for those months of the year, would solar farms actually generate enough energy? That's a genuine question. Like, is there any point in building solar farms at the poles? I just always assumed that they were better in the sort of equatorial areas and the sort of center of the globe, just because of consistent sunlight, but also like better angles. Like, I'm thinking more of the angle of the sun hitting the earth. But I realize as I'm thinking about this, I've never actually properly thought about it. I don't actually know. Like, people know? Is this common knowledge? I'm not sure. Thinking about it, I'm actually just being the AI right now. How many times have you seen the AI just in the late stages of the game just replace everything with solar farms? Like, this is exactly what they do. There you go. I'm truly becoming the Deity AI right now. It's wonderful. More appeal to a city, that would be useful if I was, you know, genuinely using anything that gave me appeal. 2 turns of the biosphere and I'm already up to 807 tourism. We are beginning to increase. I've also got social media on the way now. 50% tourism output to civs with a trade route. Hint, I have quite a few trade routes for people. I'm doing reasonably well on that front. Need to continue it, but, you know, it's pretty good. Social media. Perfect stuff. Online communities is an amazing thing. I think I'm going to put it instead of Raj. Perfect. And satellite broadcaster gives me just a little bit, but that is good. I'd rather have a little bit than nothing, so we'll do that instead of gunboat diplomacy. Wonderful stuff. Now, I also have extra envoys to put down. So I just need to have a look and see what trade routes we've got going at the moment. Still Buenos Aires. I'm going to put one down in Nanadol, I believe, because I've got a trade route there, and Kamasi. That'll give me a bunch more culture. Lovely stuff. Oh, damn. I forgot the best. No, okay, there's the whole thing of going social media and getting collective activism. I need to pick that up quickly. Never mind, we'll do that in a second. Environmentalism is the next goal. Rapid deployment. I've got to put something on another continent, but I only own America. I'm a one continent sort of guy, you know? So, that's not going to work. Already up to 1,049 tourism. I think that's 4 turns now from having done the biosphere, and we have barely started on my continent. There is so much more to do. So much more. Oh, it's always satisfying when you see a group of builders like this. 1, 2, 3. That's a farm. I didn't mean to put a farm down. I'm getting it's trigger happy. Getting trigger happy with my builders. Now 1, 1, 1, 1. Oh, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Yeah, for poor Canada, 1,722 tourism per turn. Against, what has Canada got? 14 culture. This is why I keep Canada alive. Already, they've given me 4 tourists, but you just wait, because that will start updating itself, and Canada is going to get drained of all 35 of its tourists. It's going to be amazing. And even if you didn't think 1111 was enough, we're still getting bigger, and computers and environmentalism both give me 25% extra tourism, which is just lovely. I don't have a trade route to China yet, but now I do. That's a really good thing, because they were the culture leaders. I love the fact that from San Francisco, my trades can go all the way over to England via this sort of system of railways I've got going. Hang on, I haven't shown you the railways yet. Hold on, I'll show you them. They're really cool. Hang on, let me just do a quick search for you, and wha-bam! Hooray! There's a couple of cities that have fallen off because I kind of lost track of what I was doing, but we've got east to west coast, we've got north to south, and the railway goes all the way through Central America and down into South America. I mean, I've put 226 railroad down, and by doing that, I've definitely contributed pretty much the most CO2 anybody has in the game. So, you know, I feel like we've done a good job, really. Computers gives me 1,483 tourism per turn. Victory in 33 turns. It gives me satisfaction, like great satisfaction, to play these games where we are really, really badly behaved. Like, I've gone to war with everybody on the American continent, and I'm still getting a culture victory. I've just become dominant. This is like, I guess if America had existed and played a little bit more angry on its own continent, because America is, you know, IRL is a huge superpower. So I guess if America had just sort of amalgamated Mexico and Canada into it, and maybe some of South America as well. I mean, this is a pretty weird alternate reality, I understand, but it gives you just a flavour of just how dominant it would be. Oh no, we're starting to flood, everybody. Oh dear. It's definitely not my fault. Cough. Let's just quickly get collective activism. So that's good. We'll get heritage tourism up here. This gives me 586 culture. That's lovely. Wablamo, 1,449 culture per turn. Oh yeah, now it's a good merchant. I'm just keeping an eye out for any great person that gives a tourism boost, because they do exist. Just haven't seen any of them yet. Just keeping an eye on diplomacy, because Pericles just won a military aid request, and normally when Greece is winning these things, you've got to be a little bit careful, because they love a bit of diplomacy, Greece. They are all over it, like a rash on a sweaty man's thigh. Succulent. Over 2,000 now. Ooh, 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 ooh. Globalization gives me the International Space Station, or Space Agency card, I should say. This is nice. Satellite broadcast is giving me barely anything, so let's do that, and then, well, bam, 1,249 science. That'll get me to robotics really quickly. Oh, I picked up a city from McCree. Hooray! I'm unifying America by just sitting back and eating chips. Feels very American, actually. America! We hate Canada. Actually, I don't know. Americans love Canada. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. I always have this image, like, I guess when you think of America, right, and sort of as a European and specifically as a Brit, a British opinion of America is always a relatively entertaining thing, because I don't want to say that we created you, but we kind of did, right? America used to be a colony of Britain back in the old horrible colonial days, and even with that, like, Britain and America these days get on really well. Like, there is an understanding that America is way more important than Britain these days. Your economy, like some of I was reading this the other day, some American companies that like things like Apple and Amazon and those sort of tech companies, they have economies that are way bigger than some countries, which I find just ridiculous. Like, America and the size of its economy compared to the rest of the world is crazy. So this sort of British-American relationships kind of like, well, we've got this whole shared past, right, which is this really big important thing, and we all speak English, so that's a good thing. You know, it shouldn't be a good thing in this world that speaking the same language gets on better, but it does. And yeah, British-American relations were pretty good. Like, there was this whole period of time where, like, various presidents and prime ministers have got on really well as well. Isn't, like, Thatcher and Clinton got on really well, and, like, Bush and Blair got on really well, and stuff like that. So there's been all these kind of, like, things over the years, and of course there was World War One and World War Two and all of the stuff that goes on in that. But the idea is that kind of America feels like Britain is an ally, and we feel like America's an ally, and we feel like we are one of the important countries like America is. And I think America kind of looks down on Britain a little bit as like a sort of, well, I guess you're important, maybe, but, you know, don't really crack yourself up too much, because you're really a small fish compared to us. And we're like, yeah, but we're Britain. We're like the 5th or 6th biggest economy in the world. And America's like, yeah, I know, but we could take a lot of you. It's a bit like putting Earths and moons into Jupiter. You know, that whole analogy, it's often just like, just ridiculous. But I think there's weirdness in the relationship between the two countries. But then I often think about Canada and America, because Canada and Britain get on really well. Like, there's this kind of understanding that maybe Europe is sort of a bit more liberal and a bit more left-wing than America, just as like a default. And that's not saying that one is better than the other, but just it feels like that would be a fairly safe thing to say. I mean, I don't know, I've never really looked into this stuff, but Canada has been traditionally closer to Britain as like a longer suffering, I should say, member of like the empire, and it has its own sort of unique history with like how it broke away from Britain and gained its independence, and that's all like a really interesting read if you've ever like not read it. And Canada and France and Canada and Britain have these sort of connections, and I feel like just we gel with Canada really well. Like, Canada's really generally quite liberal, it's generally quite progressive, it feels very similar in some ways to being like a sort of Americanized version of like Britain, for instance. But then how do Americans and Canadians, like, how do you interact with each other? Like, do Canadians sort of look down south and are like, oh no, like, these guys are mad, like, what the hell is going on? And do Americans just fire their guns into the air wildly and go, our noisy neighbors to the north are doing whatever? Like, I've always found this intriguing. Like, I don't know, like, America and Britain have always got on, but like, Canada's always felt like a really close fit to Europe. And America's unashamedly proud of being like very American and very different to the rest of the world. Like, America, we need to have a talk about American football, okay? It makes no sense, and it's a very slow game. Like, you need to sort that out. Anyway, that was my little rant as I've been waiting. This is why I'm basically just trying to entertain myself whilst I'm playing the game. I didn't even find the thing I was looking for. I'm looking for offshore wind farms. So we're going to get to nuclear fusion. Ugh, it's taking forever. It's taking forever, Mum. Good day, we're chopping lots and lots of stuff down. Chop. Have you seen how much more expensive a builder is than a settler? A settler is 380 production and a builder is 598 production. Like, a builder is now almost as much to build as Mont Saint Michel. That's crazy. Incidentally, and we don't often get to see this too often, but what I'm doing is I'm using military engineers ahead of my builders to remove the upgrades that I don't want. Like this farm, for instance, I'll remove with a military engineer, and then the builder comes along and uses its charge afterwards. And you can do this thing when you do the biosphere strategy, and again, this is really niche and you don't really see it that often, but if you're playing as England, who have huge bonuses to military engineers, what you can end up doing is basically just spamming military engineers to remove everything, because military engineers can do everything from removing features to removing improvements to all this sort of stuff, and you get 4 charges and they're cheaper to build as England. But the thing about military engineers, unlike builders, is the more you build of them, they don't get more expensive. Like the more builders you produce, the more expensive they get, and eventually you get to the point where you can't actually build them anymore. But military engineers always cost the same, so you can spam them way later into the game. Again, it's niche, it's not something you see very often, but I feel like at this stage of the game it would have been very handy to be England and just pumped those things out. I should say as well, if you ever want to have these sort of rambly conversations about life, as much as reading these things on the YouTube comments really helps the engagement of the algorithm, the all-knowing algorithm, praise the algorithm, blood sacrifices to the algorithm, you should come to Discord, plug, because we often have chats of a similar sort of vein. It's quite cool. Discord it's a really chill environment. Like I've been hanging out there a few times recently, and I've just been pleasantly surprised by just how lovely everybody is. Like everyone knows Civ, and they know other stuff, and yeah, it's really nice. It's really chill. Look at these heads I'm building, by the way. Oh my god, look at their faces. They're so cool. They're so cool. Oh, do they still do the ones with pirate hats? I think Civ 5 had a pirate hat moi, didn't it? And like it was very rare and it appeared every now and then, but you could see it and it was really funny and I loved it. I won the Nobel Prize in Physics. Well, there's predictive list. Oh, for goodness sake, it wasn't even there. I miscounted how many were here. Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm a fool, everybody, a fool. We're up to 196 tourists and China is beginning to lose them. This is just the culture puppet technique though. Look, the Aztecs are giving me 13, Canada's giving me 12, that's 25, and then the 12 makes 37 from the Cree. I would be down on like 160. I wouldn't even be halfway by this point if I had not taken them out of the game. I feel like I maybe should have left the Incans in the game for a bit longer, but what are you going to do, eh? I feel like people want grievances towards me, so I'll vote on that, and people like killing governors. It doesn't matter where I put Pingala, like, they're finding him, and just they keep killing him. Who's got the most points? Nubia? I feel like Nubia's got the most, so we'll give them the vote. Doop, where are you? Where are you? You are. Nobel Peace Prize. Generating diplomatic favour. I am generating minus 13 at the moment, so that could be a bad one for me, but never mind. We'll vote into it anyway. But Cleopatra won it. Oh, never mind. Oh, imagine how much I would be getting if monopolies were turned on. I think I'd have a monopoly of truffles, of honey, marble. Like it would be such fun. Imagine the percentage I'd be getting. Like at the moment, I'm not getting any real bonus apart from just the cards that I'm sort of picking, and I've just gone from 211 to 226 in one turn. 11 turns away now, apparently. Apparently, I say that with great sort of air quotes because it always changes. I just realised China and Amanatoria are already in space, with Australia and France shortly behind. They've done well. Predictive systems is finally here. That gives me offshore wind farms. These things are awesome because you can now build more improvements in the sea. Ah yes, the sea. That useless place that Auckland has now made into a bountiful beauty hole. And of course, bountiful beauty holes, that's a scientific term for a piece of sea with wind farms in it. Why? What did you think it was? I even love the fact that you can put them in lakes. It's perfect. This has been a very chill game. The world is flooding, but that just means I can build more wind farms. So really, I'm not complaining really. It's all good. So I'm just about to pick up cultural hegemony, which gives me Hallyu, which lets my rock bands choose from any possible promotion. Now that is always a good time to pick these cretins up. That means you can pick whatever you need to guarantee that they're going to win. I've built up like 10,000 faith, so I'll just pick up a few. I can't really bother to pick up too many, to be fair. There's Goddard. I'll stop somebody else getting him. Wonder Production. I will pick up you. Thank you so much. Space Race. No, that's a bit boring. I'll pick up Rafts. So that, +1 level of diplomatic visibility with people. That's, again, for another game, she would have been fantastic. But for now, not really. Anything to remember with these wind farms is that you can only build them on coast. You can't build them on ocean tiles, like I always forget. Happily sending my builders out to sea and then getting really confused as to why nothing's happening. Sometimes it is a little, like, staggering to actually imagine or see how on earth I can actually sometimes run a kingdom or an empire. I don't know what I'm doing. You also can't put them down on reefs, which I always forget because I'm like, oh, a space. I try and stick it down and nope, never works. Up to 3,000 tourism per turn now. Oh my lord, hang on, have a look at this. That's the tourism sheet. That is how many improvements that I have on the US right now. Do you reckon I've got enough? I think it's debatable. It's debatable as to whether I have enough. The funny thing is that not one of these biosphere improvements actually ever say that they've accumulated tourism over their lifetime. Look, the lifetime, I don't know why this is the thing. Lifetime accumulation 0, whereas Big Ben, for instance, is doing it, and so is a ski resort. Very odd that. I never entirely know why that always bugs out, but it always does. People are still denouncing me. In fact, the world has continually denounced me, apart from good old Canada. They are minus 105 relationship with me, but Wilfred's so Canadian, he can't actually get round to denouncing me. He's just like, nope, I'm just going to allow this. This is going to be fine. I'm actually about to hit a dark age. I just realised that's hilarious. Oh dear. Never mind. There we go. Sarah Breedlove. She's the one. 25% tourism rate to people with a trade rate. That's quite a few. Quincy. Oh, he keeps getting loads and loads of tourism. It's like, stop it now. Stop it. Actually, the best bit is the land is continuing to flood, which means I'm getting more and more opportunities to put wind farms down. Yeah, can we... Is there a mod? Does anyone know of a mod that makes the sea rising unlimited? Like, that keeps it just... So it just keeps rising and rising and rising and rising. I swear I've seen this mod before. Didn't Spiffing Brit use it ages ago? If anyone can dig that out, I would be grateful. Very grateful. Like, that would be a lot of fun. Epic Mines. Oh, Rising Stars. Very nice. 3,000 tourism generated. That would be good if I wasn't generating... Hang on. Where is it? 5,572 with the Cree. Crazy stuff. Oh, I'm glad I'm not at war with Canada. 3 trebuchets, a settler and a quadrireme. Insane stuff. You actually... That settler should be up north. Look, there's a wheel. There's Tundra, you're not working. I think they've just given up, and they're just sort of sat there sulking, I think, is probably the best way I could put that. I don't know what China's doing. Like, there's occasionally a turn when its domestic tourists will jump by about 13 or 14, and then other turns where it doesn't move at all. It's really, really odd. Anyway, Sarah Breedlove, 25% tourism rate for all trade routes. That's plus 100 on all my trade routes now. That's pretty decent. Poundmaker, I'm up to 23 tourists with you. Come on, let's do another performance. Oh, creative differences. Boo. Let's see if green civilization's any better. They are not. We will pretend that nothing ever happened. Like, let's just pretend we never got into music. What is music? Oh my goodness. England has settled Hawaii. America, as an American, I should have settled it and I should have done better, but England has taken me up on that. They've also got settlements on sort of like West Africa. They've done good. I mean, I feel like you're not quite a Vicky game of level of colonization, but you've done well, Eleanor. Oh, I just made the mistake of opening the tourism screen there for a second. Bob. Have we got enough improvements? This is a proper biosphere rush. I mean, is this not just the most hideously beautiful thing you've ever seen? How much power does one empire need? I am soaking up the sun's rays and I'm creating my own sun within Cincinnati. The whole place is just going to be burning up in some huge fusion reaction, powered by endless solar panels. That's it. I've won. Ah, and China's domestic tourism is actually beginning to fall now. Now that we're really kicking into almost 4,000 tourism per turn now. Almost. Not quite, but almost. Fun thing is I didn't really even get much for Great Works. I only have 174 from Great Works. I really could have done better. Like, some of my cities has the film studio, which is the tourism pressure that you get from that city. I don't know if that stacks with the tourism from the biosphere improvements. Like, it's a funny worded building, film studio. Obviously it works from anything in the theatre square, but I'm not entirely sure if it works for, because like tile improvements are different. Like it's just specifically these biosphere improvements work in a slightly different way, and I didn't know whether it would be worth it or not. I also never, annoyingly, which is the most frustrating thing, if I can actually click properly, I never built the P51s. Oh, I quite like those. They're very, very useful, but we were pretty chill at this point, so what are you going to do? But yeah, what an amazing empire. It's just, I just loved it. My South American unification, my North American unification with just little city-states and vassals that I've created. I like the fact that I created my own city-states. Ranking, only, oh, I got Lincoln. So there we go, not Caesar. I got Lincoln, but that's still pretty good seeing as I am America. I got cities captured up to 25. Nice. Founded. Joint top with, who's that? Manatore coming good at the end of the game. Yeah, fair play. Culture-wise, it's about, I would say, 75% of the way through the game. I jump on that one, and then this one just science is a little bit of the same. Faith, just after halfway. I think England. Was that England? With the Crazy Faith game, it was. Yeah, fair play, England. You did well. They actually had Islam. My religion. Oh yeah, I came second. Goodness me, who got that first religion? Was that Wilfred? Oh yeah, of course it was. They built Stonehenge. Oh, bloody Canada. Canada's really good for a Stonehenge rush, by the way. Like, really good. Because you get all that extra production. It's crazy how good they are at doing that. Wonders constructed. I built 1, 2, 3, 3. I don't know why I started counting like that. Oh no, that's a Japanese city. Refuse. Refuse. I don't want it. I don't want it. What I do want, however, is for us to sit down and enjoy a friendly map. Now, I don't know. I feel like this game may not have loaded this properly, so we might not get the full treaty. But look at that. Look how close Canada is to me at the start of the game. Dear oh dear. I get my holy site down. I'm full of innocence. I'm full of hope as the Aztecs forward settle me as well. And no, Canada just happened to get Stonehenge, the cheeky gits. Never mind. That's fine. That's fine. Look, they're all getting farms down. It's actually quite interesting seeing Canada do the proper expansion. I have no tile improvements down whilst they have a bunch of stuff, which is why Canada is just so strong at the beginning of the game. I love Canada so much. They are a brilliant thing. But there we go. I take Hamilton. That was my first capture. I think we peace out and then we go back to war later from memory, don't we? We kind of do it in 2 little spurts because they were coming back at me. Bam, bam. Yeah, there we go. And then I managed to keep hold of this city and keep Canada onto a 1-city basis. I believe I go after the Cree next, don't I? Yes, I do. Like, coming up and kicking Cree into the corner as well. La Venta was destroyed by the Aztecs. That wasn't me. And look, I'm pushing now down into Aztec territory, exploring North America and settling it nicely. Push, 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 push. I leave them this little city in Central America. Their capital was very difficult to take, but once I took it, that was easy. And now I had access. I think I took, it was at this city down there. Look, there we go. There's my naval invasion into the Incans. That was so satisfying doing that. Bam! In the course of about, like, 10 turns, I take over the entire Incan civilization. But that Panama Canal was so useful for me. I was sending so many traders through, so many boats through, and you can see just how big the landmass is on this map. I swear America's not quite this big in comparison to the rest of the world. Maybe it is. I mean, this map makes Japan, like, huge, for instance, and really shrinks down the seas. Like, you can't fire artillery from Greenland into Ireland. Like, that's not a thing. Or maybe it is these days. I don't know. Look, Nubia, like, does its thing. Nubia had an amazing African empire. And can I just say props to Dido for just getting all the way along that African coast. Amazing. Australia was way too late taking advantage of the fact that Indonesia wasn't in the game. I mean, Australia should have had Hawaii. They should have had Antarctica. They should have had Madagascar. They should have had South America was still free. Australia had a poor game. In fact, just the AI generally has a poor game. I wish they settled more. Like, really settled more. Maybe we should be playing with some AI mods, and maybe even a mod I've seen ups Deity's difficulty. What do you reckon? Maybe. Maybe. Who knows what that does, but until next time, I'll see you all later. Goodbye! And sorry, before I leave, can I just say, I try not to say this too often, but these huge games, they take forever to film. Like, I took almost a week filming this series. It really does take a huge amount of time. If you haven't subscribed, if you want to see this sort of thing again, please do. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Bye. And finally, a very special shout out goes to Scott Stratton, Major King Kong, Matthew Wilkinson, Salty Tech, Midnight Oil, Trevor Daskby, Paul Coffey, Senjik, Kroger Brand, Trail Mix, Alex Noob, Cinnamon Beard and Portland for all of your support on Patreon, as well as everybody else who comments and likes. Thank you!